Hello, and welcome back to our Life Group Leaders Lounge, where we are here to train and equip you to be the best Christ-centered leader you can be. I'm joined, as usual, with my co-host Raquel, and also a couple special guest hosts. We got Pastor Markus over there, Pastor Tier Santa Campus, and we got Pastor Ryan right here, who is our
Pastor Ryan. I like
there we go, student and young adult pastor here at Ocean Beach
and worship
campus, and does worship.
I do. I play the music sometimes.
Yeah,
He plays the
right.
guitar.
Yeah.
All right. So
both these two are very musically talented.
yeah, that's why we set them together on the couch.
We should have
right.
we should have swapped them to spread the musical.
the musicality.
Does
right.
it
Yes.
rub off? No.
All right.
No
so,
diatribo with music.
Well, we can talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
That's
So
the
for
secret sauce.
today's topic, we are going to be talking about recruitment, because when you get this podcast, you hopefully have one more weekend before Life Group starts. And so we want to talk all about how to recruit like a champ.
Yep.
How do we recruit like a champ? So let's get started in how we recruit for our life groups. Raquel, where does recruitment begin for you?
Well, I think just having a very clear vision of what your group will look like. For example, even starting from the beginning, mine's a couples group. So start there. What kind of group are you? If you're
Who's in
limited
that
to a
group?
certain,
What kind of people?
just
are...
me and
Cool.
my husband.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a group of two.
yeah, we're a couple. That's it.
Nice.
Starting with, and then some groups have fun. Is it titles? Do we
Yeah.
call it? Like the name of their group is fun and catchy. You have a fun, catchy name to your group.
I do. Yeah, it's Breakers. It's kind of like the OC kind of
Yeah.
vibe. Like it's like
Yeah.
Breakers.
Yeah.
Newbreakers.
Like Newbreak.
Got you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just got that
Okay.
light bulb.
When you have that moment, then you're sold on the group. You're like,
Gotcha.
oh, I get
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah. Well, and
So-
the graphic is cool. So
Yeah.
it's just the whole vision of what you want your group to look like.
defining
And
the vibe. I
The
think is what
vibe.
There it is.
That's
The
the
group
word I'm
vibe.
looking
There
for.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you talk about having a group name that kind of is catchy, makes sense with what your group is all about. You mentioned having a good photo. So I know at our campus, I love to be able to have more of actual photos of the group members in the group. So if
Sure.
someone shows up at planning center and they look at the group, they may see, okay, cool. I know some of these people.
relate to these,
I relate
yeah.
to these people. Yeah, I can join this group. So really having that target audience in mind is a great place to start with recruitment. Markus, why don't you talk
Yeah.
about, I know you mentioned with me, people will be drawn to you as a leader, So what does that mean for our leaders who are listening to this?
Yeah, so as you're leading and as you grow as a leader, people are drawn to great leadership. One of my favorite passages is Malachi 2:7. It's actually on my hand. Malachi 2:7 says, "The lips of a priest should guard knowledge, for people seek instruction that comes out of their mouth." So if you are someone who is guarding knowledge, if you are someone who is seeking after God with everything in you, bringing your circumstances and situations in life to the feet of Jesus and allowing him and his spirit to lead you, people are going to be drawn to that. They're going to say things like, why are you so calm when X, Y, and Z is happening? Why did you say, oh, I got this, this diagnosis or whatever, but I'm still saying that God is going to open doors for me to lead other people. So in moments like that, people are looking for strong leaders. And as a leader, people will be drawn to that. They'll be like, man, I want to be led by a person who's seeking God first in everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's good.
Be a strong leader, and people will continually come to you. I fully
wanna-
believe it.
It's all in your hand. That's all on there.
Well, it's
Can I see?
it's a tattoo of a shield
Okay, that's pretty.
for guarding knowledge.
You
Malachi
can't see it. You can't
2:7.
see it, but Markus has a ginormous ring finger. It's about 3 feet long. So he's got a whole verse on there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Really helps with the guitar.
Better to play the
So,
keys with. Yeah. That's right.
Ryan, you were talking about as a student leader, a student pastor here, how important being your authentic self it is
That's
in
right.
recruitment. Can you tell us a little bit about why that's so
Yeah.
important?
Well, students and by extension too, college age, students, they can see right through the fakeness.
They can
Come
smell
on.
the fear. They can.
Well, they can see right through any amount of I'm just gonna say fakeness to
Yeah.
keep it church appropriate here. If they don't buy it, they just won't come to group. Just straight up. And so
That's good.
I find that being really big and energetic and kind of my normal self which is just goofy in a lot of
Goofy.
ways. You know, kids relate to that. You break down, and people by extension too. There's this barrier of like fear that's like, oh, I'm not sure, like I'm out of my comfort zone, and then once you start cracking jokes, once you start relating to them where they're at, meeting people where they're at, they go, oh, okay, like this is a safe place. This is,
Yes.
I can be me, and I can show up and not feel like I'm putting on this persona, this, whatever it is, just being your normal self, I think. And that doesn't mean you have to be big and goofy and just because I am, but, being authentic, showing up to like meeting people where they're at, I think is.
Yeah.
And you put yourself out there too, often.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll do, we'll do announcements or anything from the stage on Sunday, even if you don't get a chance to do that, you can still be out in the courtyard. That's where your church family is every week. So you get out there, like kind of scoping out who your demographic is, and then just going to talk to those people.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to just add, you said be a safe space for people, but I think also being like recognizing people who are safe people.
Sure.
When you come up and meet someone, I know that's for me one way that I help recruit people to my group, and I build is building a relationship with people.
Absolutely.
So that takes time, that takes intentionality, that takes intentionally saying hi to someone each week, without an agenda, just to get to know people, because we are also developing and building the body of Christ, every single Sunday, every time you see people. So that's really important, to bring your authentic self to that space, and then building that relationship with people. So as people get to know you, they know, A, you're like a real person, B, you're a safe person. Mark, as you mentioned, that you are a good leader, which means really you're also seeking God. So as someone that is getting to know you, they're realizing, hey, this is another person in my life that's seeking God and can have a positive influence in my life. And people pick up on that.
You come in hot with that sales pitch, they'll go, okay, like I'm just like a number. Like you're just trying to boost your numbers here.
Yeah.
But if you come in with, hey, like, how are you? Like, tell me about yourself. Like, what are your interests? Like, how did you find this church? All, mostly geared towards new people, but even, people that have been attending the church that just aren't plugged in yet. Like, hey, we want to get to know you. We want to fold you into
authentic.
this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know for my life group this semester, I asked each of them, how did God work in your life? So usually the last week of our meetings for the semester, I always ask, okay, what did God do in your life through the semester? And it was interesting. Several of the guys in my group were saying, when Brooks invited me several months ago, I didn't know if I'd ever come. Or when Brooks kept asking me week after week, you want to come to my men's group? Are you plugged in a life group? And each of them said, I was really glad that I did. I'm really glad that I followed through with it. And I realized as I was reflecting on it, I looked at each one of them. I remember every single time I invited them to the group. I remember every single week where I was like, hey, how's your family? How's work? How are you doing? Hey, don't forget, our life group start up in a couple weeks. I'd love for you to come to our group. I got a great bunch of dudes that are in the group. I think you'd really like them. You should check out if you can.
That's perfect.
And so, for me, it's because I really like people, and I like those people I'm talking to. So it's natural for me to invite them into my life, and that's one area that I can do that in. That's one space that I do life in.
And kind of back to the vision, if you have this clear vision and you are passionate about your group, others will be passionate about your group as you're talking about it.
I also think as a leader, if you would be willing to lead other people to other groups as well. Like if I'm leading a group and I meet someone and I may not be the best connection, or my group may not be the best group for them, I'm willing to say, hey, guess what? I want you to check out Susie's group.
Yep.
She's an amazing
100%.
group. So as leaders, yes, you're leading your group, but you're also leading people. You're shepherding a community of people. And
it's the greater good of the groups, right?
Yeah. That's of the whole, right?
Yeah.
So that's huge. And even as Pastor Brooks was talking about, just meeting with people, and as you meet new people, coffee, man. I'm telling you.
That's huge.
Like,
the elixir of life.
With college group, all I had to say was like, hey, we're going to have pizza this weekend. And then they show up. It's like,
right.
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean?
You
People
feed
like
them,
food,
they
people
will
like
come.
coffee.
Yes.
And it's that inherent like community, like we're sharing in a meal. We're sharing in
And
something as simple as coffee too.
And to add that, maybe there's like a third space between like when you make you invite them, you get to know them, and when they actually show up the group, maybe there's that other space in the middle of
there is.
I just let's get a coffee. Like, can we just hang out and get some food? Like even outside of life group, because again, our goal is to encourage people, to pour into people, develop communities of people. And so if they go to your group, awesome. If they go to another group, awesome. If they're not ready to join a group, okay, but we want to come alongside people and just love on them where they're at. And maybe it takes that invitation before they'll even come to your life group to get a coffee with you first, right? Or to grab some food first, or in my case, to watch an Arsenal game first. Anytime I can bring up Arsenal, I'm going to try. So
Jesus ate with people. Be like Jesus.
Exactly.
So
eat
food.
Yeah.
So perfect. So let's talk about, so practically speaking, we're building relationships, we're sharing a vision, people will be drawn to you as a leader. So how about on a Sunday morning, how do you actually make the ask? For some of our new leaders that may feel uncomfortable with this, so what do we do? So for me, the first thing I do is I try to have a disposition of prayer when I go into it. Of, God, help me to be able to have to be able to invite the person to the right group, my group or another group, but just give me wisdom. How can I care for this person, right? So prayer is important as a first step. I would say, Pastor Markus, you brought up something I thought was really good when we were talking before, is kind of having an awareness of maybe someone that's new.
That's
Do you want to talk about that real briefly?
Yeah. So when you see people come onto the campus at Newbreak, those who are leading life groups, you probably know we're passionate about connecting people with God through authentic relationships to serve communities. So as people walk in, they want to be connected with God. They're also looking for community. Many people, that's the reason they come to church, is because they need some type of healthy community. So when they come in, you may literally see people with their eyes looking up, like, where's the signs? Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And sometimes it's a great opportunity for the icebreaker of, hey, how are you doing? My name is Markus. What's your name? How long have you been coming here? And they may say, 2 weeks. Oh, that's great. Wow. Well, I know we haven't met too much yet, but I would love to get to know you further. Coffee. And then, hey, well, we have this thing called life groups. Sunday morning is powerful. However, it's just the beginning of our week. So join us throughout the week as well. So look for new people.
Yeah, I even like that question of, to maybe jump the gun a little bit of, have you ever thought about joining a life group?
Right.
I think that's a very open-ended question, because then you're not pigeonholing people or making people feel uncomfortable. You're really wanting to hear from their heart. Like, have you ever considered it? What do you think? And then you're allowing people to share kind of where they're at with that. So I think that's a good question. Have you ever considered a life group? Ryan, you were talking about being really intentional about getting to know them. And
I think just making more of those connections. If we're still talking about like on a Sunday, if you're talking to somebody and you go, okay, like, hey, I really want to introduce you to more people. Like, here's Raquel. She's also in this group with me. We're,
like, always.
Good. Yeah. Like just making further branching that out. So it's not just like, oh, okay, I met somebody and now I'm like coming to a group. It's like, oh, I met 10 people on Sunday. Or 5 people on Sunday. And they all, now that first time when I am showing up to a group, or this new person is showing up to a group, it's not, okay, I still, like, I'm fresh to this. It's like, no, I met all of them. They're awesome. Like, I'm coming into this group, not completely just like
totally
fresh
Yeah,
eyes.
it's kind of like
be a connector.
Yeah.
So good.
It's similar to having your picture of your guys in your group. I'll do the same thing, Ryan, whether it's my group or your group. Any group I'm talking about, I'll point to people in the courtyard and go, oh yeah, they're in that group, they're in that group. And
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. So why don't let's end this time here, and I'm just going to ask this question. How do you make someone maybe feel at home or connected before they even show up to your group? So let's say you made the ask, someone's like, yeah, all right, I'll try it. I'm not getting a tattoo of your group name on my arm, but maybe
Breakers.
Yeah, exactly. But, maybe
my
they
God.
said...
On the lip. Lip tap, right?
Okay, that's
Praise
good.
God.
Yeah, that's for real committed people. So, how do you make them feel at home before they even show up to your group? Raquel, why don't you start us off? What is something that you do once someone has said, yeah, I want to join your group? What's something that just can help them feel connected?
I feel like I already answered that question by
Give it to us. Wrap it up
saying in the courtyard. I'll give them all the information about my group.
Okay, that's
where
important.
we meet, what time. They're in my group. Here's what we're studying.
Yeah,
I just
good.
I just want to like share
good.
the entire vision of all the information I have.
Okay.
No
And then
excuse
that makes
to be
them
like, well, I
feel
missed
like-
the groups. Like, oh, I didn't know where it was.
I know, right?
Give them
Yeah,
all the
that's
tools.
true.
Share
That's
phone
good.
numbers.
That's good.
I'll text you. I'll add them to you mentioned a text group. I'll add them to the text group
that's
right
right.
away. Kind of throw them in the deep, even if they don't know all the names, but they're just right in there. And all of a sudden they're seeing our conversation and our pictures of our kids and our food. And
Absolutely. I know for my group, when someone is new, they're like, yeah, I'll check it out. Like you mentioned, I have a group text where I communicate with all of our group leaders, with all of our group members. And I'll say, hey, so-and-so just joined the group, say what's up in the group text. And then I'll see immediately all these people jump in. Oh, hey, my name is so-and-so.
Right.
Here's my number, save my number. And then people feel immediately as a part of the group and accepted in the group. Marcus, what were you talking about? Like, what are some things you can do?
Yeah, so text threads are great. There's an app called GroupMe, which is great. We have an app that we use called Church Center. You can download that app in your Google Play or iOS App Store, right? You can download Church Center app. You find Newbreak, go ahead and click that. And if you're leading a life group, you are actually on there as a group leader, and you can go in and create a text thread and a chat within the Church Center app, which is so cool. So then everyone in your life group will be able to have that. See if you have life group updates, you can send those out directly from the app. So yeah, for me, again, it goes back to kind of connecting. Like, okay, hey group, this is what we have going on, and we just welcome in this person. And then you are another connector. Like, hey, I want to welcome this person in, a little bit about them. Why don't you share a little about yourself, John? And then John will share, and then, maybe Sarah jumps in. And so it's really cool to see what happens.
And kind of like keeping in mind like how you felt that first time, like somebody invited you to a group. There's like, like the nerves, you don't know anybody, and then entering that and going like, not wasting any time with the song and dance. Like, hey, welcome to the group. Like, you're a part of the group already, before they even
Yes,
get there.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think also, as you were talking about how you're like big and energetic and all that, that's great. Call that out. Also call it out if you're not. Like, for me, that's not my natural then all the time.
Absolutely.
So I'd be like, hey, I'm just going to call it out. I'm a reader.
Yeah.
I love it. So.
And people, like-minded people gravitate towards it too.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's good.
So yeah, well, thanks for joining us today. I hope that you were encouraged by our conversation, and don't forget we got one more week before Life Group starts. So get recruiting, recruit like a champ, make the ask. They'll never come if you don't make the ask. You got to make the ask, and we just know that God works through life groups. He works through when we do life together. So it's every semester is a great opportunity to invite new people in to ultimately to see God do a work in their life.
Yeah.
So. Thanks again for being one of our leaders. We really appreciate all that you do for our people. Thank you for leading well, and we're praying for you. And until next time, peace.